This is The Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. Episode 82, recorded November 10th, 2016. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Weekly Set, the official podcast of TVEnthusiast.com. I am your host and editor-in-chief of TV Enthusiast. My name is Tyson, and joining me today, as always, is our keeper of comics at TV Enthusiast, Will.
Hello.
So today, we are going to talk about Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Westworld, Black Mirror, and then we're going to go a little off-topic, not completely off-topic, though, by talking about Doctor Strange and a little bit about just the MCU in general. But let's kick things off with Legends of Tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 4, Abominations. As always, we're a week behind on Legends of Tomorrow because, well, it's literally airing right now as we're recording. So, Google description for Abominations. The team members travel to 1863, where they find themselves in the middle of the Civil War. Jax and Amaya take on a mission at a slave plantation. Sarah feels the burden of being a leader, and Ray fights to find his purpose. So, this episode shows us a little bit of our racist past with zombies.
Yes. Yep. It's an interesting episode because of what it has to say about racism and then zombies. I don't know. It's like such a bizarre juxtaposition. It's like I guess they needed to give them something to do, thus zombies.
I think they could have just done a story that happened to take place there, and it would have been kind of cool if they had something that tied into the whole Legion of Doom thing, and it just happened to be, because you have these figures that are in the Legion of Doom that have been around for so long, or that can time travel themselves, that you could go like all over the place and have it tie in. So it would have been kind of interesting if it was like dealing with the racism of the Civil War and then also dealing with this kind of Legion of Doom build-up stuff.
Right.
But it was kind of a one-off episode. Again, kind of feels like that Doctor Who kind of style storytelling of like, just kind of go anywhere, do anything, which is kind of cool in its own right,
It's kind of cool in its own right. Yeah, I'm glad that they're embracing that more this season. Like last season, you would see like they would spend like 2 or 3 episodes in a time period, and actually not really do much with that time period either the whole time.
Oh yeah, definitely. There was like, I think it was at the 1980s and the 1970s, and both of them were like basically just like, I mean, besides like maybe like one visual cue of like a person in bell bottoms that you see one time. Otherwise, it like might as well just be modern.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no difference.
I thought it was a fun episode. I thought Heatwave becoming a zombie, and then like Ray and Stein having to like, and Stein's like phobia for zombies, even though they didn't exist. It's interesting. Yeah, it's like Stein having a massive phobia over zombies. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a fun episode. What did you think about Jax's exploration of racism in the South?
I mean, I thought that was poignant. I thought it was good to like have an episode like pretty much focused on Jax, because I feel like this was a Jax episode more than anybody. So it was good. It was good to explore that, to see Jax experience some character growth as a result of what he experiences here.
It was satisfying watching the plantation burn down.
Yeah, that was the best. Yeah, I was like cheering. I was like, yeah. When that freaking like when that asshole like got eaten by zombies, I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
After Jax took the high road of saying, we need each other to survive, or saying,
yeah,
give us guns, and the guy's like, you think I'm crazy? And then immediately just gets killed.
Just immediately gets killed. It's like, bye, bitch.
Besides that, we finally learned kind of basically what Barry Allen's message was.
No, we didn't. We heard part of it. He said something. Yeah. We still don't know what the hell he's talking about.
They're still drawing it out for some unknown reason. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Let's just move on quickly. We want to get through
let's move on quickly.
Legends and Supergirl pretty quickly because we have bigger topics to talk about.
I mean, Supergirl very quickly because this was
season 2, episode 5, Crossfire.
There was not much happened in this episode. If you want to know what happened in this episode, you can sum it up pretty quickly. Gang of criminals gets alien weapons from Cadmus, and Supergirl has to stop them.
Also gets his fake identity.
Yeah, also wacky stuff with Mon-El, who continues to be a useless character. Like literally, there's no point in any of this Mon-El stuff. I don't know why it exists.
I did think it was funny the way he's just taking advantage of people. Like the one girl has a crush on him at the office, so he's just having her do everything for him.
Like, no, it is funny. He's a funny character. Like I like him, but like he has no reason to exist. like everything like surrounding him is pointless unless like they start like building an actual plot for this character, because so far they haven't.
Besides that, we got let's see.
Oh, and Jimmy Olsen wants to be a superhero.
Yeah, we got that, and he's finally convinced through the course of the episode. He's convinced Wynn to make him his costume, which we've already seen. That's leaked all over the place. But also we had a cool moment between Wynn and Lena Luthor. They're both kind of geeking out underneath a podium as they're basically using the same. It seems like the same technology that the Flash team used to use the polarity to pull up all the presents.
You mean like bullshit made up science? Yeah. It's like I really hate this when this happens on these shows. It's like we don't know what to like. Literally, it's always like some dumb asshole, and I'm like, oh my god, can you stop doing this?
The cute kind of pair up of Lena Luthor and Wynn was cool, but the actual science was stupid.
The actual science was stupid. Like these, like I get that the writers on these shows probably don't give a shit. Obviously, they don't. But it really takes all the suspense out of anything when they just save the day with bullshit.
They should literally just throw bullshit at the enemy of the week.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
the enemy's like, oh, what the fuck? This is disgusting. I'm out of here. And they're like, we saved the day.
It's like the bad guy could have like the overwhelming advantage with like the best weapons or best powers, and it won't mean shit because the laws of physics apparently don't mean shit. So it's like, yeah, okay.
One other thing to talk about, just very briefly, is that we finally found out the leader of Cadmus is Lena Luthor's mom.
Yeah, we found that out, which I thought was like, okay. I was like,
it's meh, not bad.
It's not bad, not good. It wasn't like some like if that was supposed to be like some amazing reveal. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't really. Yeah. It just is. It's like, well, that's something, I suppose.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. I mean, I guess it explains why she's a bad guy and she's so anti-alien, I guess.
The one good thing to come out of it, I think, is that it seems like, by the way they set that up, that they're not going to, like, do some stupid swerve to make Lena like Luthor, a bad guy.
They still can. There's still time for that.
They still can, but they took away the obvious path.
Yeah, they took away the obvious path, yeah. So now we know that Lex gets it from his mom, apparently. He gets it from his mother's side or something. I don't know. Maybe she's just mad he's in jail. No clue.
I don't think she's actually his mom. I think they're like, because she's adopted, or I don't know. I don't.
No, Lena Luthor is adopted, but she would still call her adopted mother mom.
That's true. I'm kind of okay. I'm mixing this up with Smallville now because it feels so Smallville.
It feels like this is totally Smallville.
Yeah. So
I can't believe they haven't gotten Tom Welling to play Mon-El. That's like the biggest miscasting.
I'm sure they'll get him to play somebody on the show because that's something they do.
Yeah, that's just something they do. Yeah,
they get all the like old Superman actors and stuff involved. But let's see. I guess the only other thing going on is the relationship building between Alex and Maggie. With Alex, I guess finally accepting that she's a lesbian and kind of of a weird kind of like
kind of like this
somewhat
weird,
inauthentic way, and
and kind of like this weird forced way that's in no way realistic to anybody's actual feelings or experiences.
Yeah.
Just because writers want this to happen. Like, literally, it's one episode. Let me point out something. One episode, this cop is revealed to have a girlfriend when this whole time we are led on to believe she is single. And so you think, oh, I guess that's not going to be a thing then. But no, literally, next episode opens and her girlfriend broke up with her conveniently enough. It's like, oh, really?
What's so funny though to me?
Basically, you just said she had a girlfriend to blatantly rub it in that this character is a lesbian. She has a girlfriend. See her kiss her girlfriend. Lesbian. New love interest for this character.
What's funny is that I find not that it's going to happen. I don't think it will happen at all. But the possibility of a lesbian relationship between Supergirl and Lena Luthor is better executed than this like actual attempt. Like there's more chemistry and interesting stuff going on between Lena Luthor and Supergirl than there is going on in this forced one.
Wait, what do you mean? There's
no, I mean like
what about all the chemistry between Supergirl and Mon-El? All the amazing chemistry there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Because they're gonna hook up halfway through.
Somebody hasn't told me in the last 10 minutes that there's chemistry between them, so I forgot.
Because Mon-El, he's just so he is just so uncouth and like he does all the wrong things, and oh my god, Supergirl is so attracted to him because of that. Like it's like so stupid. Come on.
CW.
CW, yes, all CW, and it's the worst aspects of CW. Like stuff writers should literally be running away from if they want to make a good show.
So normally now we'd be moving on. I'd use the segue. Now let's talk about a comic book show that's actually really good. And we'd start talking about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It wasn't on this week thanks to a rather stifling American tragedy that took place this Tuesday. But we'll move past that then, and we'll talk about Westworld.
What are you talking about? We're making America great again.
Yay.
Yay.
So we're going to talk about Westworld, Season 1, Episode 6, The Adversary. Here's the really brief description on Google was Maeve charms Lutz. I guess Lutz is the one character's name. Elsie discovers a possible sabotage. Teddy and the Man in Black have a conflict with a garrison. So that kind of really says nothing about what happened in the episode.
No, that doesn't. That's vague as hell. Anything could have happened. Yeah.
So, what did you think about this episode? We got some more we did get, they did talk about the conflict with Garrison with Teddy and the Man in Black. That was kind of more of a Teddy reveal or moment. Him gunning them all down with the Gatlin.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome moment. What was the name of that town that, William and Logan went to last episode?
I can't remember. I just call it Lawless Town.
Lawless Town. Yeah, because I guess we got a major hint that this isn't two timelines, because when the Man in Black and Teddy were heading towards the garrison, they said there was a blockade because some major stuff went down in that town.
Again, just big enough to fuck with the audience.
Yeah, to fuck with the audience. And we know some major shit did go down in the last episode with William and Logan, and it really seems like that could be related to why there's a blockade now that the Man in Black has to get around. But yeah, we know it's not concrete. It's not not like a confirmation. They're being very careful to dance around this, and like, so we don't know. We still don't know on this. Hopefully it's confirmed soon, because having people come up with theories like this and then having the writers like sit there and tease it and not confirm it one way or the other for so long, it gets tiring after a while, because then you have to hear people continuously, endlessly speculate on it and pick apart every little thing.
It's NX all over.
It's like, yeah, it's like, just confirm or deny it so that we can move on to other beats. Because I think there's other interesting things happening in the show besides that. The major thing is Maeve becoming fully self-aware, or almost fully self-aware. Like, literally, she is way ahead of the game.
Yeah, she's got Felix is the tech that's that she at the end of the last episode surprised. He's basically running down the whole thing for her.
Yeah, he's basically right now, this is the deal, you know. We see Maeve, like,
he's all, by the way, if you try to Cronut, they're amazing.
Yeah,
he's just, like, giving everything.
We see Maeve, like, literally do things, you know, like a host isn't supposed to do. She puts a scalpel to that one guy's neck, and she very, very much threatens to kill him.
Sylvester, that's Felix's coworker.
Sylvester, Felix's coworker, you know. And you know, and then when he protests that, you know, that she's a host, she's not supposed to be able to do that, she very, well, you know, I can.
So I'm not supposed to wake up either, you know?
Yeah, I'm not supposed to wake up either, so yeah.
So we still don't know. Again, it was a vague threat, because that could also be you know, she didn't actually cut him or kill him, so that could all be her bluffing, but she might not even know for sure if she can or not.
She might not even know for sure.
Sylvester didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah, Sylvester didn't want to take the chance.
So her story this week, there was a really cool scene where Felix was taking her through.
That was the big story this week, I think.
Yeah, Maeve. Felix was taking her through the building, kind of showing her everything.
Yeah, pretty much everything.
Floor by floor.
Know, as much as he had access to, at least.
Yeah.
You know.
The coolest, of course, was when she went to, like, the video wall that shows the kind of like the video for the tourist about what happens at Westworld.
I guess, like, yeah, it was like an advertisement for, like, the park, you know, just basically showing the experience, showing what it's like, you know, like, to get people excited to go there and experience it, you know. It's like one of those things. She sees that, and then she sees herself, you know,
from a past storyline.
From a past storyline, those memories that she's been having of that storyline, you know, that hits a nerve when she sees that. And then Felix basically explains to her, like, well, no, that was a past storyline. Yeah. That was, like, you know, yeah.
You haven't been this madam for 10 years. You've been the madam for, like, half a year.
Yeah.
Before that, you were in this other storyline, and we erased that.
So she has Felix and Sylvester change her attributes, because they mention that to her. They mention her attribute. I think Felix actually shows her attributes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I know. You know, and he sits there and he explains it to her, which causes her to want to change her attributes, you know, to more benefit her. She has him, like, turn her intelligence up to the max.
Turn her pain down and her intelligence up.
Yeah.
So this is scary territory.
This is scary territory.
The other interesting thing, though, was that Sylvester and Felix discovered while doing this that somebody else had already been toying with her attributes. Which seems to be Arnold. There was a lot of Arnold talk this episode.
There was a lot of Arnold talk this episode. We do find out who the spy was. It's a very surprising reveal.
Yeah. That's found out by Elsie, who discovers that it is she finds that the terminal that they're using to send out information, and checks the login information stuff, finds that it's Theresa that's been involved in this, but somebody else as well, and we don't really get to find out who that somebody else is because she gets like captured.
Yeah, she gets captured. Yep, she gets captured. But what's his name? Jesus.
Bernard, yeah,
but she gets captured, but not before Bernard gets the news that Theresa is the spy or a spy, or at least a conspirator in what's going on.
Or at least her name's attached to it. If she's not the spy, then they're using her credentials.
They're using her credentials, yeah. So, which is a big moment for Bernard because, for Bernard, it's like, well, he's like, how could I have been so blind this whole time,
He finds out right as he's going to talk to her about Dr. Ford.
Yeah, about Dr. Ford. Yeah, exactly. No, that could have been delivering more info to her. That could have been disastrous, if she had obtained that, if they had that discussion beforehand, that would not have been good.
Speaking of Dr. Ford and Bernard.
Yes.
Bernard finds information
we meet
about
Dr. Ford's family.
Yeah. Bernard gets information. He finds out by doing a search for like anomalies, which I think was in the last episode, right? When he first started doing the search for it.
I think so, yeah.
Based on the one that was sending the information, the one that crushed his own head with the rock, by expanding that search, found like, what was it, 4 more, I think, anomalies.
Yeah.
And, in this one region, and it was kind of a little bit off the grid. So he went there to investigate and walked into a house, and there's these hosts, like a family of hosts there, including the boy that we've seen infrequently.
Place, though. It's like a place that I guess it's not open to guests. It's kind of like nothing should be in this area. Certainly not hosts should be in this area.
And these hosts don't respond to his verbal commands.
No.
But then right as he's kind of panicking because they're not responding to him, Dr. Ford walks in behind him and tells them to, stop or whatever. Basically the father just kind of like walks away.
Basically they respond to Ford's verbal commands.
Yeah. We also find out that these robots, which again, they include the boy that we've seen quite a few times throughout the series, that seems to be like a younger version of Dr. Ford.
I think that's confirmed.
Yeah.
That had been a popular theory up to this point, the popular
theory was that he had made a version of himself as a boy.
Well, that's true. Well, the theory was, regardless of the semantics of it, the theory was that the boy was a host version of Ford as a child. That was the theory, that's because it was never confirmed what the child is other than being a host, it was like it was only hinted at that was Ford. And in this episode we did get the confirmation that yes, indeed, the child is Ford, and not only was that child created in Ford's image, but his whole family from when he was a child was recreated as well.
Yes. And we also found out that it wasn't Ford that created that.
No, it was Arnold. Ford claims that Arnold made them for him as a gift.
And these are also very old models, which a very cool shot showed, where the one boy, his face split open.
Oh, yeah.
That was an awesome shot.
That's awesome. That is very, very freaky image.
That's something they've been hinting at, that these were like these marvels of technology with these little, just tiny gears and stuff, like everything just so precise, like a finely tuned watch. Whereas the current hosts are like biological bodies.
Yeah, biological. Yeah, I mean, the Man in Black, he makes a direct reference to that in the last episode.
Mm-hmm. When he was draining,
the one guy, when he was getting Teddy Teddy back up on his feet, he remarks to Teddy, he's like, well, you guys used to be so beautiful. He recounts the story of how he took a host, he dismantled a host completely, and he talks about like, all the gears and stuff, and how, and he remarks that it was a thing of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And then he laments that to save money, now hosts are, hosts aren't made like that anymore, and they're more human than even before. And he laments upon that is, like that's a bad thing,
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So here we get to see what one of the actual old hosts look like inside, which is really cool. An awesome shot of it splitting apart like that.
That was an awesome, that was nightmare fuel. Definitely.
Just very cool looking. It kind of made me think of like Raiden from like Metal Gear Rising.
Yep.
It was just very cool. Let's see, what else?
God, I can't remember now. There was a little subplot with the writer.
With Lee, the head of narrative.
I guess he just stopped giving a shit. I mean, I don't
pissed off because of because Dr. Ford was taking over the whole narrative.
Yeah, because Ford was taking over and all of Ford's, Ford taking over the narrative, dismissing his entire narrative, which happened a couple episodes back. Because he had this big storyline written, and Ford comes up and completely dismisses it out of hand. So I guess he just
goes, meh.
Meh. So I guess he's still salty about that, like really bad. He does something really embarrassing. I guess he's relaxing, like kind of like drowning his sorrows in as much alcohol as he can, and he sees this beautiful woman, this like gorgeous, stunning woman walks up to the bar, and he walks right up and he hits on her, and it seems to go great. I think it seems to go fine. He connects, And then later the scene happens where he is taking a piss on their model of Westworld
thing, yeah.
Their giant map that, they use to monitor the goings on in the park. He takes this giant piss on it. And it's funny because you see the guy who's the head of security there, his only, like, the only time he shows up in the episode, but like you just see the look of disgust on his face when it happens.
Yeah.
because the camera's focused on him in that scene. And then he's doing that, and Teresa confronts him, and then we see the woman who he was hitting on at the bar. It turns out like she is
she's a rep for the Parks Board of Directors.
She's a rep for the Parks Board of Directors. And it's like
she's the one that they had been talking about that they were going to be sending out.
That they were going to be sending out. Yeah, it's like, whoops, jackass.
At least he doesn't have to be so uptight around her anymore. She's already kind of seen him at his worst.
Yeah. Really.
So that's pretty much it for the episode. I think I don't know about you. This was one of the lesser episodes.
The interesting part of this episode was the stuff with Maeve, and seeing like how advanced she is, how self-aware she is now. Where is that going to go?
And also I think the stuff with Dr. Ford and his family. That
was interesting. That was interesting backstory for Ford. But I didn't really think much of it after it happened, because it doesn't have that
haunting moment.
It doesn't have that haunting moment. That was more like backstory for Ford. In my opinion, it was neat. Oh, there was something with that though that was pretty haunting as well. There was later. Ford goes to play with his younger self in the dog, and then he finds out that his younger self, the host of his younger self, killed the dog.
And also lied to him about it.
When Ford interrogates him, he admits he did it because a voice told him to do it. And we've been getting hints and clues that this voice that the hosts are hearing, Dolores is hearing voices too. And that we get hints and clues that voice may be Arnold.
Yeah. So that's when we said earlier in the episode, there's a lot of Arnold stuff going on.
There's a lot of Arnold stuff going on. I don't know if that's like misdirection or, maybe there's a twist involved. Maybe this isn't Arnold, or maybe Arnold is something else entirely to what we believe he is.
So this episode had some cool hints at stuff that's coming up. It just wasn't kind of as like entertaining on its own as some of the other episodes have been recently. So, I think some of it's just that I think like a big crux of the forward momentum of the story is happening with Dolores and William. And we didn't have Dolores and William in this episode.
Right. We didn't have Dolores and William in this episode. I don't know. I don't know if the episode needs Dolores and every episode needs Dolores and William.
It doesn't.
That's hardly the most interesting. That's hardly the most interesting storyline in the show anyway, but.
Well, it seems to be where the forward momentum is happening.
Right.
Because you have this, because Dolores is real central tied into this whole kind of like Arnold thing. And then William with the ties to him possibly being the Man in Black and then playing with that.
Or possibly not, because maybe these events are running concurrently and there is this is in the past.
But they're definitely like toying with the expectations that people are going to think that.
Right.
And just those two things happening concurrently, with Dolores and him, like, although it's not necessarily the most interesting all times, when those two are together and on screen, you kind of feel more of a forward momentum in the story. Like you feel like the story's pushing forward, whereas this was more just like lots of hints and lots of.
I thought the stuff with Maeve was pushing the story forward. That is the major part of the story, where the crux of the story is, these hosts are becoming self-aware. That's part of the forward momentum with Dolores too. It's like the idea that these hosts are starting to become self-aware. They are starting to become more than what they're supposed to be. That's really the story.
I think with Maeve, we didn't really get the forward momentum because like it ended with that. Like, so we're not seeing what she's doing with it yet,
Right.
I think in the next episode, unless she's not in the next episode, seeing where she goes now that she's made these changes, that's going to be like forward momentum, but right now we just kind of got not the forward momentum so much as like she basically put on her shoes so she could start making forward momentum. So it's kind of like we got that progression to where she's going to like start having her agency as her character now, but we didn't actually get her character actually really doing anything that changes things yet. We just got her gaining the ability to do that. So I don't know. I don't know about you. This like I said, this episode was a little bit less exciting than some of the other recent ones, but I'm really looking forward to where things are going based on things that happened in this episode, if that makes any sense.
Right.
Anything else to talk about with Westworld?
I think we covered everything now.
Okay, so next up is Black Mirror, Season 3, Episode 3, Shut Up and Dance. The description is very short on this one. When a teenager falls into an online trap, he is forced into an uneasy alliance.
This is kind of, I mean, that sounds good, like, as, like, a summary, but, like, as the actual episode, it's like, I don't know. Again, it felt a bit underdeveloped to me.
I thought this was the best.
In the same way.
I thought this was the best of Season 3 by far.
Oh, really? You do?
Because it was so tense.
It was tense, but, like, the premise was, like, kind of goofy, so that kind of killed the tension, too, at the same time. I don't know. I get, like, the kid's nervous because like he wanked it in front of his computer, and I'm just like,
well, we found out it's more than that.
I would just be like, if that was me, I would probably just said, yeah, just go ahead and get out, give a shit. Like,
yeah,
really.
but that's not all it was. It was we found out later on that it was child pornography.
I guess.
Well, it was like directly
it was like tacked on. Yeah,
because the one guy said it because he had also looked at children, and that's why. Yeah. And then when his mom called him, directly said, "What you were looking at children," and she was like screaming at him.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that's what she was saying at the end, so I wasn't like 100%. Like that's where they went.
He went to kitty porn, so that's that's where he was coming from.
But you literally could like they filmed him wanking it, but you literally couldn't tell what he was wanking it to. So like
no, you didn't know, but I thought that was effective though, because I could tell that there was probably something deeper than just him wanking it. So I thought
so.
Maybe it was something he was doing it to something illegal. Right? But I like the way they played it, because there was the moment when he had to rob the bank in which he basically was like, no, I can't do this. And even though we now know it was something darker, it fit in line to what, if you had just wanked, if that's all you had done, that would be a good point for you to go like, okay, no, I'm done. I'm out. Like ditching off work, maybe doing these things, to save my social life. That's one thing, but robbing a bank, fuck that, like there's like that certain point there. But then we have, the character of Hector, played by Jerome Flynn from Game of Thrones, basically like goading him into doing it, because he's like, like you got caught wanking it, they're gonna do it, and Jerome's doing it based on just thinking that, because it makes sense for Jerome. At that point, from what we knew, he had much more to lose. He was going to lose his family.
Yeah, he had much more to lose.
So he goads him into doing that, and then you see Kenny kind of breaking down at the goading, and you're like, well, Kenny's just kind of weak-willed, and so he's going along with this now, but he's kind of not sure of it. But you're not kind of sure why he still went along with it. It makes more sense when you know,
because
when you know the kitty porn angle.
Yeah, if the kitty porn angle like definitely makes it more reasonable why he's going along with this, and it's funny because like at the ending was like he does all this shit. It builds up to be more and more ridiculous. Like at the end, he's asked to like fight this other guy to the death, like literally to death. I guess the implication is like he murders this guy.
They're fucking these people's lives up. So what they're doing is not only do they have him on the child pornography, but they get him to rob the bank. So now he's on the hook for robbing the bank as well. And now they put him in a position where, well, one of them's going to die and the other one's going to live, and that person's going to walk away with the money from the bank robbery. So it's like it's this like continually getting deeper into fucking up his own life. It ends, with him basically just kind of like almost accepting it. Like, yeah, okay, it's over, and it was tense when he actually decided, when the whole fight to the death angle came up, he pulled out the gun and then put it to his own head and pulled the trigger, because he was just like, I just need to end this, and it didn't work. There was no bullet in the gun.
There were no bullets. They never gave him a loaded gun.
So then he's like running at him. I think what made this work for me, I understand, I've heard some other complaints where people said like the social engineering aspects of this like just didn't make sense and stuff.
It was a little far-fetched, like they could have, it was a little more, what can I say? It's a little over the top, to the point, to tipping almost to absurdity. I think if they dialed it back a little bit, made social engineering like a little more subtle, a little more sinister, and like kind of made it like you as the viewer kind of didn't know what the angle of this hacker is or where it was going. I think it would have made it more tense and probably made it more fascinating. Because one of the fascinating things is the tension comes from, you don't like, what are the motives of this hacker? What is he trying to do? And I think the way the episode presented it, the way that they had him do more absurd, over the top stuff, like kind of presented it as, well, I guess this hacker doesn't really have any other motive except just trying to fuck this guy over. And I think you lose some tension in that, because if you figured it out already.
Well, it's kind of like social justice,
right?
Because everybody they targeted did something wrong, basically something that could be construed as morally wrong.
I don't think it's like social justice. Yeah, everybody they targeted did everybody they targeted did something wrong, but that because they have to do something wrong for them to be able to make them do the shit in the first place. They have to have something on them. That's why it's blackmail.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, though. Is that it's kind of like that the motive of the hacker or whatever is like vigilantism, basically. The hacker is basically a vigilante setting up these people to their own ruination, because they've judged them either bad or because they know that they can get away with fucking with these people, and in that case they're just doing it for the lulz,
right.
Which actually is very believable to me.
So like, yeah, no, it's very believable to me too, like that some bored person would fuck with somebody just for the lulz.
Just based on the kind of stuff that does happen on the internet, yeah.
I could tell that a comedian created the series because even in the darker episodes like this, there is an absurdist bent to it.
Yeah.
That could only come from a comedian.
Well, I mean, this very show that's so dark was actually picked up as a comedy series on Channel 4 in the UK.
Oh, it was really, it was picked up as a comedy series, really.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it was done from this angle of comedy. Charlie Brooker, he did an interview on a podcast I listened to recently. It was really good, where he was talking about how, to him, when they're writing the episodes, they're like cracking up and laughing out loud as they're writing them, because that's basically what they're doing, is they're taking a situation and expounding upon it and making it just more and more ridiculous. But then the way that they present it, it has kind of like your heart pounding, because you're getting invested and everything's just getting more and more grim and fucked up. But from the creator's standpoint, that's what's funny. But I actually kind of like the way that it progressed this way, because I like that it started out kind of like almost like a cyberbullying story. Like, okay, this kid's, somebody's fucking with him. Then it starts to get a little bit more sinister. What's the motive of this hacker? Why are they doing this? Where is this leading? Is he going to have to kill somebody? What's happening in this, direction? And they kept making you feel more and more like, oh, this is leading towards something very bad, and it kept that feeling of dread grew. Like, it would go to a point where it was like, okay, he just does this and he'll be out of it. And then it's like, no, this is getting worse. This is getting worse, and it kept getting to the point where you're like, okay, you're reaching this like point of no return now, where like, there's no way to kind of save your life. And then they drop the bomb that, it was child pornography that he was, caught with. And then they go and you see the scene where Jerome is returning to his house. And when they first cut to that scene and he's like returning to his house, I'm like, are they going to make it so that like Jerome was like, Jerome's character Hector was in on all of this? Like, he was he wasn't really there because he was having an affair, but he was like part of this group or whatever that did this hack. I thought that's kind of where they were going, but no, the reason they followed him home is to show that he gets a text on his phone with a troll face, and all the stuff that they had on him was leaked anyways. Everything was not. And then you start to see, after that's revealed, it starts showing all the other people that were being on this, that were being handled in the same way, also having that happen to them. They're all being exposed.
It just proves that it didn't matter what they did, they were going to leak that stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just fucking with them, It's like, he didn't really have to do any of that. It would have been leaked anyway.
Mm-hmm. And that goes right to the episode title, Shut Up and Dance.
Yep.
because that's basically what they made it do. But I don't know. I really liked it. And I think what made it all work, even though it was getting absurd, what made me so still attached to the characters and everything that was happening, largely has to do with the performances. The actor who played Kenny was like, he was very young, he looked very frail, and because of that, you kind of grow attached to him in this, because it initially plays off as a story of bullying, like he's being bullied. And you see that he's bullied in work, and now his privacy is being disrespected by his sister at home, and then now he's a victim to the cyberbully. So making him kind of frail and weaker and stuff like that, you grow attached to him, and his performance is really good and makes you really sympathetic towards him.
Right, and then you find out he's a pedophile.
It's like, oh, yeah, he's a pedophile. This is like this much more fucked up situation. And I think that that's what drove it, because as it's getting more and more absurd, I still felt the whole time like I was feeling for the character. I was like, oh God, like as I'm watching it, it might be getting absurd, but I'm feeling so bad for this character. And then it gets to that point, and I'm already so attached to him that even though he's a pedophile, I don't feel necessarily disgust towards him. I feel more like a even deeper dread. Like, oh, like his life is over. He's fucked up. This is all wrong now, And, I don't know. I thought this was very effective, but no. I have seen people that come from it from your angle that didn't like it as much. How do you feel this ranks with the other episodes of the season?
Good. I liked it better than the last episode. I liked it slightly less than the first episode. So far out of the episodes, I'd say this is second place.
Okay. And was there redeeming quality for you, or was it?
Yeah, the redeeming quality. Had one of the best guys from Game of Thrones in it. One of the best actors from Game of Thrones was in it. So he was pretty awesome, dude.
So the performances were good for you too. So.
Oh yeah. Definitely. The performances were great. Are you kidding? Like just awesome the way like they played their parts like to a T.
Yeah. So yeah, we disagree a little bit on this episode, but just another kind of interesting episode of Black Mirror. So let us know what you think by sending your comments to contact at TVEnthusiast.com or the weekly set at TVEnthusiast.com, or just leaving comments on our article or anything. So now we're going to move on. We're going to go a little bit off topic because we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange. Now I say this is a little bit off topic.
Yeah, we're just going to do like a quick rundown, like our brief impressions, thoughts. I don't want to get too much into Doctor Strange because I know everybody listening to this has either saw it or wants to go and see it and experience it for themselves.
We are going to spoil a bit. So if you are planning to watch it, this would be the point to drop out of the conversation. So if you haven't watched Doctor Strange yet, you don't want to keep listening at this point, unless you just have no interest or something. Which I don't know why, because was really good.
It was really good. It was like,
it ranked pretty highly on my list of Marvel movies.
It ranked pretty highly on my list. I don't know exactly like where it would rank in the final tally of things, but it was definitely one of my favorites of the Marvel. Mm-hmm. There's a complaint you could make that it definitely adheres to the Marvel formula. There's definitely a Marvel formula now that you can recognize, and
it's an origin story again, so it kind of feels almost like a Phase 1 movie.
It does feel like a Phase 1 movie. I think like these movies with the new characters are gonna feel like Phase 1 movies, because this is kind of like, let's just call this the new Phase 1, because Phase 1 introduced us to Iron Man, to Thor, to Captain America. And this phase is all about introducing us to Doctor Strange, to Black Panther, to Captain Marvel. So we're moving on to a new set of characters with this phase.
Though Black Panther was introduced in Civil War, and Miss Marvel is surely going to be introduced before the Miss Marvel movie.
Right. Right.
Or the Captain Marvel movie, I mean.
But this was done great. You know, Benedict Cumberbatch was great as Doctor Strange, Stephen Strange, even if it sort of felt like a rehash of his Sherlock character, because for the good first half of the movie, he was basically playing an egocentric genius, you know,
but
like
less like autistic,
like less autistic than Sherlock, but he was still like this arrogant, like super genius, you know, like I thought, like when you know the early part in the movie when he was a surgeon, he's talking about like how brilliant he is, or he was talking about like this one incident, I guess this guy had a bullet stuck in his brain. You know, he sounded like House. Like, oh, Benedict Cumberbatch could have played House and been just as good as Hugh Laurie.
It is a very House-like character in this clip.
Yeah.
He's having like cases read off to him when he's driving his Lambo down, by the hillside.
That also reminded me of like Sherlock too, because, you know, he's having cases and he's like, yeah, I could do that. I could help, but so could 5 other people pass. It's like, that reminded me of like Sherlock just passing on cases because they weren't interesting or challenging enough for him.
Yeah, or House,
it was the
House
same
does
thing.
that too. House is like, he'd be like bored of a case and just, I'm not interested, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm not interested. Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, House was actually based on Sherlock Holmes.
House was based on Sherlock Holmes, yeah.
His friend, Wilson, Watson, you know, those were, that's basically what House was entirely designed
House
to be.
was basically
Sherlock Holmes, yeah.
Yeah, as the doctor, you know, yeah.
So there is a bit of that. I'd say there's more humor than coming from the character himself. For Strange than his character of Sherlock, who's, you know, because Sherlock's so like on the autism spectrum, you know.
Yeah.
He just kind of, the humor in Sherlock comes more from like, I can't believe he just said that, or, you know, like, whereas in Doctor Strange, like, he's more self-aware of his sense of humor and stuff.
He's more self-aware. Yeah, there's the sense of humor in this was on point, by the way. I think Benedict did it. I think everybody did a fantastic job with their roles. Wong was like hilarious.
Yeah.
I loved Wong in this, the villain. I thought
this is the typical Marvel problem.
This is a typical Marvel problem. The villain just feels like he's there, you know. And they got a freaking fantastic. Like, okay, did you want to watch a movie where Sherlock Holmes fights Hannibal Lecter?
And Mads Mikkelsen knocked it out of the park too. He was great.
Mads Mikkelsen knocked it out of the park, and it was great watching these two great actors play off of each other. You know, like that was like a dream come true, really.
And there were some funny parts to it too. Like, I love that part. It's in the preview.
To have those two actors paired against each other in this film, that was definitely a treat.
It was in the trailer, or one of the trailers that came out, but there's the great part where, you know, he says, oh, excuse, you know, and you are something, and he said, you know, Mr. And he said, it's Doctor, and he said, Mr. Doctor, and he said, it's strange.
It's strange, and he said, it's strange, and he says, I suppose, but who am I to judge?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way Mads Mikkelsen delivers that line, he delivers that line in such a deadpan manner, you know, that really makes the line work because of that delivered, like the way he just says it. He just says, it's because Cumberbatch is like, it's strange, and then the way Mads just says, well, I suppose so, but who am I to judge? You know, it's such a funny deadpan manner that just makes it hilarious.
So it's not so much that the villain's like bad as in like, say like Thor the Dark World, where the villain was just flat out boring.
Oh, just flat. No, it wasn't, because Mads Mikkelsen is a fantastic actor, so he
put on a great performance. He had a great look.
He had a great look. He injected life into this character, who probably
wasn't much for the character to do.
There wasn't much. Who probably would have been boring if another actor had taken up, because the character, you could see through the writing that the character was there. They didn't do much with the character in terms of like the scripting or the writing. You know, like a lot of the reason that character ended up as good as he did was I believe entirely on Mads Mikkelsen's performance and the way he portrayed that character.
There were great performances all around.
That was I think that was a prime example of how a great actor can take material and elevate it. And it's just another example of why Mads Mikkelsen is one of the best actors working in the business today. I believe that watching Hannibal, I saw him take a legendary character that we associated with another actor for such a long time and so thoroughly and utterly create a version of that character that became utterly his own.
Just downright Luciferian character.
Downright Luciferian character. And I think, even though that didn't happen here, obviously, we did see Mads Mikkelsen do a similar trick, where he definitely made this character more memorable than the character probably would have been under a lesser actor.
I just want to say real quick, Mads is owning the winter season because he's got this and he's also in Rogue One.
Oh, that's right. He is. I'm excited to see that now too. Even if he's like in one scene of that entire movie.
I don't think he's going to have that big of a role in the movie, but it looks like it's going to be an important role because he's supposed to be. They show in the one of the trailers that he's actually the main character in Rogue One's father, and that he's, I guess, instrumental in some of the Empire's plans, but like kind of against his will. Like he's like an Oppenheimer who was, the creator of the atomic bomb. He's like an Oppenheimer-like figure, which is really cool. It's really interesting. Very different.
To wrap this up, to get this going quicker, because we are going on a bit long about this. I want to touch on a few more things with Doctor Strange. I thought the visuals were amazing.
Did you watch it 3D or 2D?
I watched it in 3D.
Okay, I didn't see it in 3D yet. I plan to.
Okay, I didn't really feel like for most of the time I didn't really feel like the 3D was that amazing. Like it didn't it did do much for me, but there were a couple scenes, especially like the scene with the butterfly, where it looked like the butterfly was like flying right in front of your face. I thought that was pretty cool.
I heard that whole scene, like the whole psychedelic scene, was like amazing in 3D.
It was pretty cool in 3D. It was pretty cool. But I wasn't blown away by the 3D, so it was okay. But yeah, the visuals were amazing.
All the actors were great.
All the actors were great. The ending of the film, like when Doctor Strange goes up against Dormammu, it's one of the best scenes in the entire movie. By the way,
that's also Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, playing Dormammu?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The mocap and the voice was Benedict Cumberbatch.
The mocap, so Benedict Cumberbatch is Doctor Strange and Dormammu in the MCU.
Yeah. Dormammu's only going to appear as a voice and like some weird energy or whatever. So that's kind of like Benedict Cumberbatch played Smaug in the Hobbit movies, but he also played quote unquote the Necromancer, who we know is like kind of a form of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. And so he did both of those. He just has a great voice, so he lends himself well to like these big evil figures, that can be voiced.
That can be voiced, yeah. So that's cool. So we got to see Benedict Cumberbatch actually confront and battle himself.
That was really cool, just the way they did that whole time loop and the way he kind of imprisoned him in the time loop.
Imprisoned him in a time. That's very clever.
I've come to negotiate.
One of the great things about Doctor Strange's character is he uses his more than any other superhero we've seen in the MCU so far. It seems Doctor Strange uses his intellect to solve problems and get him out of situations more than anything else.
So because come to bargain.
Yeah, because you see more than anything else. Like Doctor Strange assesses a situation and then he finds like some kind of outside the box solution. He doesn't go for the direct approach. in these situations, like everybody else does, like when the New York Sanctum was being attacked, and everybody's response is to just directly go after the attackers and try to fight back and defend. Doctor Strange realizes, maybe if I like activate the mirror universe, like they can't do any damage inside the mirror universe. So now I got him, like that's his thinking, so he doesn't go for the direct approach. He tries to think outside the box and come up with unorthodox solutions to these problems. And, you see that again when he goes up against Dormammu, because Dormammu is this being that can utterly annihilate him, like when you see him, he goes, I have come to bargain, Dormammu has no reason to bargain with this guy, it's like, and Dormammu shows that pretty quickly by just instantly killing him,
over and over again.
but then you see Doctor Strange's genius in the way he approached that, because it wasn't as straightforward as Dormammu thought, because Doctor Strange used the time gem to initiate a time loop at that moment before he confronted Dormammu, and then that's when you find out. So yeah, he overcomes that situation through clever trickery and not through direct confrontation or through strength, in that way he's different from all the previous Marvel superheroes we've seen to this point.
He did that in some other ways too that weren't really directly spelled out, like when the New York Sanctum Sanctorum was under attack and he's fighting off against this whole group, he is doing things like before he even does the whole mirror world thing, he does things to knock people outside of the windows and then change the dial so they can't get back out, and knocking off their sling rings, to try to trap them and stuff. So it's like he's doing things, sometimes it's being spelled out and sometimes it's just kind of subtle that he's actually just doing some really kind of clever things to stop them,
Yeah, he's doing some clever things to stop them.
Because at that point,
because you get the impression, that these guys, Doctor Strange had been studying the mystic arts for not that long at this point.
He's not as competent in them as they are.
He's not as competent as they are, so they are much more powerful than he is, so he can't beat them in a direct fight anyway.
So he's using a lot of trickery, which is really cool.
But he uses his intellect, because, they established very early on he is a genius. He has a large intellect, and he uses that as, he has magic, but he uses his intellect as his main weapon.
I like that they did this whole kind of, a lot of people have mentioned it in comparison to Harry Potter with the whole wand chooses the wizard thing, with the kind of I don't know how to say it, gadgets or relics choosing the sorcerer in this. And he seems to be somebody that's very apt at bonding with different artifacts or relics or whatever. And in very short succession, not only does he end up getting the Eye of Agamotto working with him, but also the Cloak of Levitation, which we have to talk about by itself just because the Cloak of Levitation was a character in itself. It was hilarious. It was it had its own personality. It was great. I loved the scene when he was trying to get the axe or something. He was reaching for the axe and the cape's dragging him back. Cause the cape's trying to point out to him that he needs this other thing to stop Caecilius. And he keeps going for it. So he's running in place like a Looney Tunes character almost.
Right.
I thought that was really funny. I love that they had it. He flipped up the collar on the cape and it was rubbing against his face. And he's like, stop. I really love the way they used humor in this movie for things like that. Like I said, the performances were good all around. I think I'm trying to think of what else to say about it. It was good. Did you watch both of the post-credit scenes?
No, I watched the first one with Thor. I didn't watch the second one.
There's a second one at the end.
Oh, that figures. Well, I walked away after Thor.
So they had the scene where he's talking to Thor and he's basically saying that Loki is, a threat that's on his list. This is probably straight up a scene from Thor Ragnarok. In the
Yeah,
same
it is.
way that they had the Captain America Civil War scene at the end of one of the movies. I can't remember which one now. But it had like an actual scene from Civil War, like in the other, as a post-credit scene.
They've done this before, yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't just like their typical post-credit scene where it's like unique to this movie. This is probably a direct scene that we will see again in Thor Ragnarok. It was really cool with him refilling the beer and stuff. That was really funny.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Do you want me to break down what happened in the other scene, the other post-credit scene?
No, that's fine. Don't spoil it for me.
You can have another viewing of it.
Yeah, I can have another viewing. I'll find out.
Yeah, stay to the very end. There's more at the end. So anybody who is listening to us and hasn't watched it, there are 2 post-credit scenes. Yeah, I thoroughly liked it.
Really loved Doctor Strange. I can quickly say what my favorite Marvel movie is and what my favorite Marvel TV show is so far out of all of them. And I think you might be surprised, you might not be surprised, but favorite Marvel movie so far is Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's my number 2. I have Winter Soldier at number 1 for me.
No, Winter Soldier was really good. I think Guardians of the Galaxy came my personally because I think it's so different from any other Marvel movie so far.
Oh, I loved it. It's a very close toss-up between those 2 for me.
And my current favorite Marvel TV show is Daredevil. Especially with season 2 and the addition of the Punisher, like that took it to a new level. I guess not so much the Elektra stuff, but love Daredevil. It's like that's like Arrow if Arrow was actually good.
I put Jessica Jones is my favorite of the Marvel series so far. Right. I really liked what they were doing. It's flawed, but I really like what they were doing with kind of the idea of consent and stuff.
Yeah, I like where they were going with Jessica Jones, but I thought it was very, very flawed. It could have been stronger, so it's not my favorite for that reason. But I really did appreciate the character. I appreciated where they were going.
And I put Doctor Strange comes in number 4 on my list, behind the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Captain America. So I really like Doctor Strange. I think maybe a little bit more than you did from what we were saying. So
yeah, I mean,
does it crack top 5 for you, or
it cracks top 5? I didn't get to say my beefs with Doctor Strange. My main beef with Doctor Strange is it felt safe. It felt very, very safe. It hewed extremely close to the Marvel formula, which isn't bad.
Very close to the first Iron Man.
Which isn't bad because Marvel has their formula down. Like they freaking know what they're doing. They nail it every time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, so I'm not saying awful, but I'm saying it did play it very safe with the Marvel formula. I thought Caecilius could have been a better villain. They could have done more with that character. It does continue the trend of Marvel movie villains being irrelevant, because Caecilius did in a way feel irrelevant, even though Mads Mikkelsen is awesome. So again, a very safe movie, but a very fun movie with some unique visuals, some great performances. Humor was spot on. So definitely one of my favorites.
Too.
Very satisfying conclusion. One of the most unique fights, I guess, if you can call it a fight at the end there, with Thor, the scene with Dormammu easily puts the movie in the top 5 because and Doctor Strange being a unique character for the MCU, definitely pushes it over the top for me.
And I definitely can't wait to see him more in the series. I want to see him pairing up with other characters. Seeing him with Thor and Loki is going to be cool. What I really want to see is him and Tony Stark.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure we'll get that. I am sure.
Oh yeah, there's no way they're not going to do that.
So I am looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to when that happens in the Avengers, because that's definitely going to happen in the next Avengers.
I just can't wait to see Tony Stark's reaction to him as such a man of science and such a wise ass. The way he's going to be reacting to Doctor Strange is going to be hilarious. Because he already had a hard time reacting to, like Thor, you know, and the hammer, like trying to figure that out in like Avengers 2. So with Doctor Strange, I imagine it's going to be like tenfold.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right.
So that's it. So, thank you everybody for listening. You can reach me on Twitter at Tyson Gifford. You can reach Will on Twitter at Voxel Hero. Check out our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, as well as our site, TVEnthusiast.com. If you want to find our Facebook page, YouTube channel, all that stuff, all the links to that are on the website, TVEnthusiast.com. You can subscribe to the podcast through any major podcast client like iTunes or Pocket Cast, and the entire backlog of our podcast, because if you're just subscribing through the RSS feed, we can only have like 2 episodes at a time up. But our entire backlog, every podcast we've done, is available on our YouTube channel. So thank you everybody for listening. Night.
Good night.
If you would like to voice your opinion, send an email to theweeklyset@TVEnthusiast.com. TV Enthusiast is a part of the Enthusiast Media Network. Stay tuned to TV Enthusiast and the Weekly Set podcast for more